When the subject of human mating first came before the Galactic Symposium of Biology, most delegates laughed. It was absurd to even suggest. Every known sapient race had limits to reproduction. Strict seasons, biological cooldowns, or even elaborate rituals that allowed only a handful of unions in a lifetime. But humans seem to defy every principle of galactic common sense. One scholar, an avian from the icy world of KSCL, finally asked a question aloud, his voice echoing through the chamber and drawing both amusement and disbelief. How can humans mate 365 days a year without breaking their tool? The word tool was a poor translation, but earned chuckles across the assembly nonetheless. My name is Varith of the Raylan Collective. My people enter estrus once every 5 years. To us, reproduction is an event so rare that entire cities restructure their lives around it, as though it were a holy festival. I was tasked with studying humanity and their strange biology, an assignment I initially thought trivial. Surely the stories were exaggerations, myths spread by traders who misunderstood what they had seen. No species could withstand that frequency. Our own males would rupture their organ sacs if they attempted more than a few unions in a short span. Yet when I was stationed on Earth, I discovered the truth, and it horrified and fascinated me in equal measure. Humans did mate with shocking regularity, not only daily, but sometimes multiple times within a single rotation, and somehow their anatomy endured. To understand why this stunned the symposium, one must understand the galactic norm. The valent species, my own kin, require 40 days of rest after a single union. Any attempt earlier risks tearing delicate tissue, and even permanent infertility. The Theral of the ice worlds can only reproduce when their twin moons align, a cycle spanning 12 years. The Mylar, insectoid in form, mate only once in their lives. Their organs calcify afterward, leaving them incapable of repeating the act. In every case, reproduction carries enormous biological cost. Scar tissue, organ failure, hormonal collapse. These are expected. And yet humans, bafflingly, do not break. Their phallus, as their textbooks call it, inflates with blood pressure, performs its function, and then heals almost immediately. Within hours, sometimes minutes, they are ready again. When this was first explained to us, many believed human flesh must contain hidden fibers, metallic reinforcements, or artificial grafts. The reality was simpler. Human erectile tissue is made of cavernous chambers that fill and empty like hydraulic pumps. The same evolutionary trick that lets their muscles grow stronger after strain and their skin scar over after wounds also protects their reproductive organ. They are, in essence, built to endure damage and recover. What shocked us further was not just durability, but the desire itself. Humans did not simply endure frequent mating. They sought it out. They craved it, not only for reproduction, but for bonding, comfort, recreation, and even diplomacy. No other species risks so much tissue strain for reasons beyond fertility. To us, this seemed like madness. To them, it was life. I recall my first interview with a human soldier named Marcus. Broad-shouldered, scarred, with a grin that unsettled me. He listened as I carefully phrased my question. "Is it true," I asked, "that you can mate every day?" "Sometimes multiple times." He nearly choked on his drink, laughing. "Of course. That's not unusual. Depends on energy, mood, and partner." "Why?" I explained, as delicately as I could, that such frequency would render any Raylan male bedridden for weeks. His eyes widened in honest shock. "You mean your people don't do it like that? At all?" When I nodded, he shook his head in disbelief. "Goddamn. No, wonder you think we're monsters." Word spread quickly in the academies. Students whispered in lecture halls. "The humans are tireless. They can mate even in old age. Their organs heal themselves." Among species who struggled to keep population numbers steady, the idea was intoxicating. Imagine a workforce that could replenish its numbers endlessly. Imagine soldiers who could form bonds without risk of permanent injury. Imagine ambassadors who could seal treaties not only with signatures, but with intimacy. To some, humans became objects of reverence. To others, objects of fear. One elder of the Theral spoke bitterly in a council meeting. "Do you understand what it means? Give them a century, and their numbers will blot out the stars. But when confronted with this accusation, humans only laughed and shook their heads. Relax, they said. We've got contraception. We don't always want kids. That confused us more than anything. They had the ability to breed endlessly, yet they chose not to. They had invented medicines, devices, and surgeries to reduce fertility. It was as if a starving man had been given infinite bread and decided to fast anyway. What kind of species creates abundance and then refuses to use it? But the most fascinating discovery came not from science, but from culture. Humans made it not only for survival, but for love. They formed pair bonds and strengthened them through repetition. They comforted each other with it, apologized with it, celebrated with it. One human female told me, her eyes shining with warmth, it's not just about the act. It's about being close. Feeling someone choose you, again and again, no matter the day or the year. I confess, I envied her. My people mate so rarely that affection often grows cold between the intervals. We lack the constant reminders of closeness that humans share so freely. Perhaps that is humanity's greatest strength. Not that their organs do not break, but that their hearts do not tire of one another. For the sake of record, I presented the technical explanation as well. Human tissue heals quickly due to high cellular turnover, so micro-tears recover in hours. They produce hormones continuously, rather than cyclically, allowing year-round readiness. Erections are powered by hydraulics, not brittle bone structures like in some species, which prevents fractures. And most importantly, their brains reward the act with a flood of chemicals, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, that compel them to repeat it without trauma. Durability, desire, and bonding converge to make them unique. When I stood before the symposium and shared these conclusions, the chamber fell silent. Humans do not break, I said. They can make 365 days a year not because they must, but because they choose. And in that choice lies their greatest strength. For them, love is not rare. It is renewable. Some scoffed, others laughed, but I saw in many eyes a glimmer of longing. Every species wished, secretly, that they could do the same. Later, I returned to Marcus and asked again, seeking a simple answer. Why could humans mate so often without injury? He shrugged and grinned. Practice, my friend. Good genes. And mostly we just don't give up easy. That was when I realized the truth. It was not only about flesh or blood or biology. It was the same reason they had crossed oceans, braved deserts, climbed mountains, and now walk among the stars. Humans do not break. Not their tools, not their hearts, not their will,